Coming off a record year of profitability in the pork production sector, you might expect expansion in the U.S. pork industry. However, that's not been the trend. Ag Day National reporter Michelle Rook joins us to explain. Michelle.
That's right, Clinton. The last several USDA hogs and pigs reports have confirmed a smaller herd in the U.S. Now, there's a number of headwinds keeping the numbers down from 5 to 6% over a year ago, including disease. And so it looks like that trend may continue for a while. The U.S. pork herd has been contracting and is down from a year ago as many operations have been hit by PRRS and PED, including Dave Mensick, a pork producer from south central Minnesota.
A lot of empty barns is what I'm hearing also. A lot of empty barns in the industry because of disease pressure.
And he says that has put the brakes on expansion.
The hog slaughters are reduced 5 to 6% because we've had such a disease in our industry. So one of the biggest challenges that we have is to if we are going to expand, we got to do it in a way that we can have healthy pigs.
That's part of the reason so many new hog facilities have been built in South Dakota, where pork production has been growing at a rate of 7 to 8% a year.
Well, the attraction primarily is the fact that we don't have the hog concentration that some of our surrounding states have, and so that makes it very conducive to come to South Dakota.
And Mueller says so far they've seen less herd health issues over the last several months.
Iowa and Minnesota and Nebraska are seeing more population density of pigs and therefore have more exposure and more risk associated than we do in South Dakota.
However, noted swine economist Dr. Steve Myers says disease isn't the only issue limiting expansion.
Number two is we've had labor problems all over the place, including at the production level. And number three is the cost of building these buildings just went out of sight last year. And then there's the availability just of work to get a building put up.
Plus now high input and feed costs are also making pork production less attractive.
The feed prices are high, and to bring all this back is going to take a few months. It might even take a year before all this production is back in line. And then it's still a question of what's our feed prices going to be in a year from now.
He says fortunately higher hog prices have offset some of the cost, but he says his margins will still be under 2021. Myers says last year the lowest cost producers made a record $20 per head, with average producers around $10 per head. But this year it looks like those margins are going to be much slimmer, especially with the rising costs of production.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Of course, if you missed any of our Pork Week coverage or interested in what's happening in the pork industry, head over to porkbusiness.com for the very latest.